Me, 27M, and my girlfriend, 25F, opened our relationship and have started to lose our spark. We opened our relationship at the beginning of the year after 5 years of monogamy because she expressed that she wanted to gain more sexual experiences after growing up in an overly strict household. There were bumps in the road starting out because I'm very monogamous and I was having difficulty finding partners while she was able to secure a lot of encounters and dates almost instantly. Things got a lot better after I went to therapy and learned to express my concerns and emotions in a healthy way. Our sex life with each other remained healthy through this, but it started to improve after I learned to communicate my feelings. I met someone who's a great friend and also a great sexual partner after realizing that, unlike my girlfriend, I'm not able to have sex with strangers without a bond, and that I had no real desire to gain much more sexual experience because I grew up with significantly more freedom. My girlfriend started to become jealous of the bond I had started to create with this new partner, and would do things to them to interfere with our meetups, like calling my phone constantly while I was with this person or throwing herself at me sexually right before I was about to leave. This behavior started to reveal a pattern to me. Before this year, my girlfriend was very responsible. She was pretty good with money even when we didn't have much. She held down a steady job with steady hours, and she enrolled in college the previous fall in order to obtain a bit of upward mobility. But leading up to us opening our relationship, she began to almost regress. It started with spending her entire check on tattoos and piercings, which I didn't mind too much because I love outward self-expression. But then she started antagonizing her supervisors and showing up hours late daily or leaving early with no warning. Then this semester in school, her grades declined and she stopped showing up to class little by little until she had no clue when midterms or spring break were and didn't have a clue that finals happened and the semester was over. A month or two after I started hanging with this new partner and getting to know her even more and growing closer, my girlfriend took a leave of absence from her job for 2 months. She said it was for her mental health, but when I suggested therapy, she refused. She narrowed her encounters down to one consistent guy and stays with him for days at a time. This would be more of a red flag for me if I hadn't started a job this year that's 12-hour swing shifts. She told me she hates being at home by herself, and because I work so much, it makes sense that she try to find somewhere to be while I'm gone. But then she started the food delivery services. She doesn't have a car or a license, so it would make more sense if I didn't already buy groceries and keep the house stocked with food. And because she wasn't making any money, she was spending my money. It's as if she has lost all sense of maturity. She gets frustrated when I bring up the money or the fact that when I'm at work and she's home all day, she does absolutely nothing except order food and lay in bed. She also shuts down when I attempt to have a healthy conversation about how I feel in our relationship, or she'll say that she doesn't notice anything different and that maybe I'm just making up things in my head. She eventually quit her job without having anything else lined up, and all of this caused me to grow distant from her physically and emotionally because it felt as if my needs in our relationship weren't being met, and she noticed immediately. She felt that I didn't find her attractive and was upset that I stopped initiating sex and that the quality of our sex deteriorated. I tried to fix it and express how I felt in the relationship and why it was hard for me to want sex from her, but she kept saying I was just always calling her a problem. So now we don't have sex or even cuddle. We talk a lot still, but mostly about her sexual partner. I hardly see her now. I still try to initiate sex, but she's always tired or on her period or any other excuse, and when she tries to initiate sex, it's usually at the most awkward or inopportune times. All of the intimacy is gone, and we haven't had sex in almost 2 months. I want to bring this up to her, but her frustration with these types of talks has pushed her to threatening a breakup, or says she's feeling like I'm never satisfied with her. She says constantly that I'm the man she wants to marry and that she can't see herself with anyone but me, so it's a bit confusing. My working theory right now is that what I need in my life is maturity, and the partner I found is exactly that. Responsible but fun, and is all about balance and fairness. On the other hand, my girlfriend is looking for thoughtless fun and availability, and her partner embodies that as well. He has none of his own things, rarely goes to his job, and is easily aroused no matter what. I don't want to leave my girlfriend, and I know who she was, and that the person I fell in love with, but I'm not sure that I care for who she is now. We tossed around the idea of couples therapy once we get our finances back under control, but she doesn't honestly seem very interested in the idea. I'm just not sure what to do at this point. Update number 1. The same day I posted this, she got a call from her mother, who was the main antagonist of her childhood. They've had a sort of surface-level relationship since she left home. Her mom stated her brother was going through a bit of psychosis due to self-isolation for the better part of his late teens, and that she had some realizations about how she parented her children and apologized to my girlfriend. It seemed to have unlocked something in her, and she let out a lot of held and resentment. She asserted to her mom that she's going to start therapy because she's realizing that she's becoming her mother, and she doesn't want to hurt people like she was hurt as a child. I'm not sure how much she meant this, being that she was extremely emotional about it. But while on break at her new job that she started last week, she's been applying for a second job, saying that she thinks having so much free time this year has been affecting her negatively, and she wants to work to have some emotional and financial independence. This is all good and well, but a lot of you in the comments have brought up some amazing points, and I think this is ultimately about figuring out what I actually want. I don't think hopping out of one relationship to another is something that benefit me or anyone else in the long run, and I realize I do deserve to have some say of my own life and boundaries and desires. But I also know that relationships are work, but that work has to be mutual. I'm going to do a lot of thinking, and I'll update this post if there are any developments. Update. So it's been a few months, and I figure I'd update you all on the situation, if you're still curious. So a week or so after the original post, I realized things weren't improving. I went to some friends about the situation, and it was unanimously time for a breakup. I knew it was my decision to make ultimately, and I read through all of the comments from the original post and decided that I deserved to figure out how I wanted to live life. So I broke up with her and told her all the reasons why. I told her all of the things I didn't like and would need to change if there was even any hope of ever considering getting back together. She cried and we talked over the phone because she was never home when I was home, so we couldn't talk in person. She seemed to understand my reasoning and was saying she was going to work on herself. It was getting close to the end of the lease, and I had found a new place with my roommate, and she was under the impression she was going to move in with me. I considered letting her move with me, but ultimately decided it was a bad idea, especially because she went on a rant about my friends and how she wanted to hurt them because she found out that they agreed that I should break up with her. So finally I told her she couldn't move with me. She went to live with the dude she had been seeing, and she kept in contact. She never put forth any effort to improve. She constantly gave me updates of how terrible the guy is and offered me stecks on occasions. Her situation with him started to mirror how she treated me, and immediately she realized that how he treated her was abusive and toxic. I explained all the parallels between her situation and our situation, and she gave a half-hearted apology. I got back into therapy, and I've been doing great ever since. My finances are more stable than they've been in years, and I'm now dating the girl I was seeing before. This has been the easiest relationship I've had in my life. Our styles of communication are similar, and how we show affection and care are the same. It was jarring at first because I've been so used to chaos and abuse even in relationships before my ex. Dating this girl feels like finally having someone on the same team as me. Someone dependable and consistent. Took a while to break habits of codependency and realize that I'm allowed my own space and freedoms with her. I had to get back into my hobbies, and I started going back to the gym because I had started thinking back over the last 6 years of my life and all of the crap I put up with and sacrificed for my ex, and I kept blowing up on her, and my therapist told me it wasn't healthy for me to channel my frustrations out like that. So I've been a lot more productive and creative these days. Thanks for all the comments on the original post, even the ones that weren't that great.